Formula E has finally come to London and I'm very excited. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Formula E is the world's first all-electric formula. It's all about welcoming a new generation of fans to motorsport, accelerating R&D in electric vehicle technology, and generally promoting clean energy and sustainability. So obviously, I'm all over it. But I'm also a huge Formula One fan, and I have been since I was a kid, so I'm really interested to see how today is going to match up to the bigger, badder Formula One. Enough talking, we need to get to Battersea Park, and what better way to get there than in an all-electric cab. We're in the cab. This is a Nissan Leaf. As you can see, it looks just like any other cab, but what you will notice is different is how quiet it is. You really do notice how peaceful it is to travel in one of these cars. There's no vibrations, no sudden stop start, and most importantly, no emissions whatsoever. Now, Formula E is very much about the vehicle technology of the future, but there is nothing futuristic about traveling in an electric cab. You can do it right now. The company that provides these cars is called eConnect cars. We use them all the time. Pick up the phone, get on their website, book a cab. You can do it today. I've just bumped into Alistair Clarke, founder of eConnect. I've just been singing the praises of your cars, Alistair. So we've just talked recently about electrifying London transport for Hug and the Snug.
Yep.
So how does an event like this affect a business like yours?
It's only positive. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity for people to see what electric cars can do, how far they've come, and the fact that you can have a competitive race right at the top of the sport is awesome for us.
Do you think it's going to kind of help to change attitudes and get people more excited about the technology and realise that it's kind of here and now, not something for the future?
Yes, I think a lot of people still feel that electric vehicles are something that's coming. Well, actually events like today are showing that they're actually here today, and you can partake in it. There's lots of manufacturers here with their vehicles that people can go to the showroom tomorrow and buy. So I think it is helping the whole perception around what electric vehicles mean, what they can do, and how relevant they can be to people's days' lives today, not just in the future.
And I've spoken to people who've said that you know, part of Formula E is to create an entertainment brand, and that's part of the philosophy. I think that's great, but what about the sport itself? Do you think that it can, we're talking today, like, can it really compete with Formula One? Can people get as excited about it? What do you think about that?
I think, having seen the races so far, they've been very competitive. Actually, people are racing, which I think to a certain extent some of the Formula One races start getting a little bit predictable once you've got past the pole position, past the first lap. These races are very competitive. There was a driver during the season who started off in pole, ended up in 20th position. He completed the race.
It's quite different, yeah.
It's quite different, and other people are starting at 16th and getting through to the podium finish. So there's a lot of competition in there. There's a lot of overtaking. Yes, there is no noise associated with it like you get with the Formula One. But actually, the fact that you can have it in city centres like this, it's much more accessible to local people, to people who live in London. I think it's only a good thing.
Okay, fantastic.
Right.
Sounds like it's time to go and see some racing. Have you been to Formula E before?
No, first one I've seen.
And what are your initial impressions?
Yeah, I like it. It's much quieter. I have seen Formula One, so it is quieter.
And does that bother you?
No, it's quite relaxing actually, because Formula One's very, very loud.
Okay. And do you think generally the event can compete with Formula One, or is it something quite different?
I don't think compete in terms of take over from Formula One, no, because I think the fan base for that is too big, it's too international, and there's a certain amount of adrenaline and testosterone, it has to be said, with Formula One, that I don't think Formula E delivers, just because the cars aren't quite as fast, they're not quite as aggressive, they're not as loud, and that atmosphere and fan followership isn't there just yet. I think it will get there, but it's a long way away.
I'm here with Rick and Clive, and we're all just kind of hanging around, waiting for the race to get started. So guys, while we wait, what are your impressions of the day so far?
A lot of waiting around.
Yeah.
I think. Well, we just waited 3 hours, 7 I mean, they'll normally practice and swan out, but I suppose that's understandable.
But for the racing itself?
Well, wait to see the race. But it's been good to see the qualifying, see some of the. It feels a little bit more edgy than Formula One.
In what way?
There seems to be a bit more going for it, you know, and you know, you see them coming up to the chicane.
You mean like people are actually racing?
Yeah, you feel like they're really, you know, yes. So I'm enjoying that. I feel a bit more on it.
Okay. And from a technology point of view, do you find yourself feeling inspired? Do you guys drive electric vehicles?
Yeah, I was saying, it's coincident. Both of us seem to have Priuses, so the hybrid thing is quite good. So, you know, watching Formula One, I find that sort of fascinating to see that they're introducing the hybrid bit to it. And so for this to go all electric, so on the way here we were discussing, so would we move to an all electric or some other technology for the next cars if we can afford to buy one? The next one we might buy.
And would you?
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think at the moment there's not enough charging points, and it's a bit like the really old days when cars first came out. You sort of think, you know, where am I going to refuel, you know? So it feels a bit like that really. If I want to go down the coast, I'm thinking when I get down there, okay, great, but have I got somewhere I can juice up to get back again, you know? So it is in its early days, but I think that's good. I think it's fine. It is on the right track. And,
no pun intended.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
It's quite interesting listening to them, you know, on the radio here, listening to them how they're trying to develop the technology of these cars to make them run further and more efficient, and that has to be good for you know, standard cars. I mean, if you want to buy, you know, a friend of ours has got a Nissan Leaf, and you know, they can't go very far on it, to be honest. You know, they have to be charged up somewhere or other. I want a car that I could drive, an all electric car. It takes me 300 miles without worrying about it. I don't be worried on my journey. I think we're, you know, doing this stuff, we're going to get towards that, I think.
That's the challenge, manufacturers. We want a 300-mile electric vehicle,
Absolutely.
and then we're ready to go. I've just met Max and his dad Colin, and I hear that you guys are big Formula One fans.
Yeah.
Is that right? So have you been to Formula One races?
I have.
Okay, and you watch it regularly?
Yeah, every other Sunday.
Yeah. So how are you finding it being here compared to the Formula One experience?
Doesn't really compare, if I'm honest. This has not been. It's not in the same scale or league, but this is the first Formula E in London. It can't really compare with Formula One just yet. There isn't the noise, there isn't the people, there isn't the rock bands going off.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that, you know, Formula One.
Do you feel the same way, Max?
I think it's probably got quite a long way to go yet as far as, you know, the development of the cars is concerned as well. You know, there isn't technology yet, but it's definitely going somewhere good. I think that's, yeah.
And one of the things that Formula E is designed to do is get people kind of inspired by electric vehicle technology and maybe thinking about, you know, using that in their everyday lives. So do you guys, you know, would you consider using an electric car perhaps, or a hybrid car?
Yes, very much. In fact, I've got one almost on order now. So,
okay.
But this wouldn't have changed my mind to get that or not. The deciding factor was that it's free congestion charging.
Okay. So kind of economics drove that decision.
Completely an economic decision, not anything to do with the engineering that's behind it. Although that is fascinating.
Yeah. And so, you know, Max, you're kind of like the next generation of car owners. When you're driving and when you're buying a car, do you think you'll be buying electric vehicles? Like,
a Renault Twizy.
Well, I'm a drummer, so I can't fit all my kit in a Renault Twizy. But
no.
Especially with sports like this, you know, the development of, you know, the batteries and the motors, it could get, you know, a lot cheaper and a lot more. So it definitely will be an option for me in the future. Yeah.
And finally, who's going to win the championship?
What, Formula E? Buemi.
Okay.
I would agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. The race is coming up. This formula is really on the cusp of something, and it has a lot of potential and could really grow into, I think, a very exciting sport. Personally, I felt like I was watching the future. That, you know, it was great to get up close to the cars. It was great to see technology performing at that level, and I think things can only get better from here.